Hello and welcome back to Gallipoli 1915 Churchill's Greatest Gamble by GMT. This is now turn 4, 10 a.m. to noon, and I, as normal, after reviewing things, found a couple of errors or things I'd forgotten to do, and I've corrected those. Nothing, not that much of a big deal. There's two things. One is up on X Beach. I missed the fact that it's only got a stacking value of 2 on landing, beach capacity of 2, so you can only put in 2 steps. The units coming in, rather than companies, are actually half battalions, and so I could only land 1 half battalion plus the HQ and the machine gun unit, and so the other one has the other battalion's been delayed, a little bit like what happened at V Beach, and should come on next turn instead. The other one was down with our artillery units here, which were pointing the wrong way. Now there is a way of the artillery unit repositioning itself, effectively putting itself out of the gun pits, which are pointing in the wrong direction down here, and getting the guns turned, so they're effectively not subject to the arc of the gun pits as restricting their fire. So we've done that. That's actually, it's like an engineering action. It's known as prolonging an artillery unit. So we've done that. It's a long action, and nothing really particularly do anything about those guns, as there was no naval fire. However, the long action doesn't, as I understand it, last until the movement phase of their activation. So there may be some possibility of naval fire onto them while it's doing the long action. And one minor thing is I'd actually not put that counter the wrong way around. It should be, of course, the construction side of the rifle pit, and not the completed side. And I think in my last video I was calling them gun pits when they're actually rifle pits. And that's all for the cock-ups, if you like. And so we can then get on with the new turn. So the new turn starts with, of course, the reinforcement phase. And the first thing we do is to place the reinforcements. So on W Beach we get the supply unit, which really only comes into its own during the night turn anyway, but it's landing now. And then at V Beach we have 3 more steps available. That's a D company of the Hampshires and the left half battalion of the Worcesters coming in for those 3 steps. And then we have a little bit of a traffic jam here. We have the rest of the border regiment battalion here coming in for 2 steps, and we've got the Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers RAF, or IF, sorry, not RAF, battalion coming in, but that's going to have to wait. Or what we could do is reassign it. But I don't think that's really necessary. I think we've got a lot of steps on here, and we'll just go with what's what and delay. Have a delay for that battalion on landing on X Beach. Right, so that's the reinforcements, and then we pull a gunfire, naval gunfire chit. So let's do that. And we have a commanded fire chit. That's interesting. So in any activation segment on the Allied side, commanded fire can come from the Navy to anything within LOS of an all-sea hex. So that might be something to consider with these artillery units here. Try and engage one of them. So that's the naval chit, and then we have the reinforcements. So the units row in, and we will roll for any coastal defence firing. So on V Beach we have these units can fire down on the beach. So yeah, that's a 10% chance per step. So we will roll those chances. And then for W Beach, the units up here will be able to fire now down to W Beach, and but not quite X Beach. So yeah, we'll W Beach will have a roll as well. So yeah, at 10%, as I say, per step. So that's rolled, but no casualties. So that's the naval gunfire subsegment of the rowing subsegment. So that's all done on the landing side. We're then on the supply phase, which we're not worried about yet for this day, and finally onto the command phase, where we look for isolated units and we adjust formations. You bring the beach flying columns underneath proper brigade HQ use and other such things. And then beyond that, we're on to officer points and onto the army status displays. So, right, let me go through a few of those phases there and report some results. Right, there are no isolated units so far, and we're not adjusting any formations. We're just keeping with the V Beach, X Beach, W Beach, and all the rest, because the brigade HQ's going to land, I'm presuming, with General Reserve. Certainly the orders seem to say that for 88th Brigade, 86th and 87th. Not really sure, but I think they're probably the same. They're all, I think, going to fail their orders. Possibly 86th won't, over in W Beach, because yeah, I don't think anything has proper line. Actually, yeah, they probably do. This could possibly is within 3 hexes, which is imminent threat. So they're all going to fail their orders, and well, there you go. Just officer point segment, we've dropped a point for Y Beach, and yes, it's yeah, they'll be actually then disorganised defence, so they shouldn't actually. I got that wrong actually. They shouldn't drop a point because they're no longer on attack; they're on disorganised defence. So therefore, they should be, I think, adding a point, which is great. Right. Other than that, there's no real change from the other officer points tracks. And finally, then we're on to orders continuation and orders change. So we're going to look to change Y Beach's orders again to defence, so that they can then build up to try and do something into an attack order, and there'll be a lot of failing of orders. Yeah, so S Beach and V Beach are going to drop down to disorganised defence automatically, and the 3 brigade HQs, British brigade HQs, are going to fail to disorganised defence as well, where their general reserve fails. We've only really got X Beach and W Beach doing anything. They're still on the initial attack. Everybody else is going to be effectively on disorganised defence on the British side. No change to the Turks, I think. We'll stick with the pickets and the cordon defence. So yeah, other than Y Beach attempting to come out of disorganisation, it'll be the same. Yeah, we'll just have the automatic failures and the same orders. So I'll just adjust that, and we'll attempt to do the Y Beach order. Okay, I've just done some officer point counting. I think W Beach should actually fail. They did lose 2 steps in the initial landing, and so they really shouldn't be as high as they were. So I don't think I counted them. So they're down to 0 officer points, so they will automatically fail as well, and we'll go into a stalled attack situation. So only W Beach only X Beach is still on the initial attack order. So let's roll for Y Beach. So with Y Beach, they're now on a 45 to switch orders. They're on a 45, and they're not intermingled. They are flying columns, so +5. That should be +5 on the dice. Oh, and they're switching to a defence, and that's a -10. So it's a -5 on the dice, and they need 45. They get 54, which makes us 49, and so that's a failure. So they're still on disorganised defence. They're still mulling about, not quite knowing what to do, and just holding on to terrain. So yeah, that's not a great orders segment, and we're on the load the cup segment. So I think I've preloaded all the cups, all the units, command chits in there, all ready to go. And so we have no amphibious assault, and we're on to activations and initiative. So let's roll for the initiative. Again, we've got a -1 for the Turks because of the terrain. They hold, and yeah, see who wins. So it's the Allies win, 7-3. The Turks win. So that's 3-7 or 2-7 with the. So Turks go first. That's really good news because they can pick out their 26th Regiment. This will mean that a lot of the units on long actions can actually come out of their long action. For example, the artillery units here in the movement phase, and here in the engineering phase with these companies as well. So that will be good to bed those down. And then a commanded fire phase, which can use quite a bit of artillery now. That's actually, the commanded fire is before the movement, so I'm presuming that these guys can't actually fire this turn. But next turn that will be a lot more. And I think the Turks need it because they're really suffering, particularly on this end of the peninsula, where their front line is now sort of here now, and all of that is now owned by the British. And V Beach is looking very well stacked for units as well, so it's very powerful, if a little bit impotent at the moment. But I'm sure we can get 88th Brigade going fairly quickly, as it has officer points in its own right, and get the Hampshire and Worcesters, the Hants and the Worcesters moving fairly sharpish once orders are sorted out. So we'll do the Turkish 26th Regiment, and I'll let you know what happens. Right, we've done the initial phases. So the engineering phase, we got the rifle pits here turned over, and that was pretty much the engineering phase. So then on to the commanded fire phase. There's a lot of firing to do. We had firing from these two units, the 9th and 11th companies, onto the RF, the battalion there, and we got no result. There was a morale check, but the morale check was 66. Nothing there. The pom-pom gun fired onto X Beach, and again similar result, morale check, but on a 68 there was no problem. W Beach here, and we've got our units landing here, and there's quite a lot of them and again we've got negatives for the stacking for the density, and but we've got what we did is we actually fired from spotting here. We fired from our big gun up here, two-step howitzer unit. The combination of the distance and the observed fire modifiers was +8. Even with the density, we didn't really get near to a result, even for a morale check on that, unfortunately. We had the picket here decided to fire down here, but again very weak, only a quarter strength point, and again not got nowhere near a morale check. Down in V Beach, so the issue with V Beach here is that we've now got a lot of steps here, and with our trench we have a stacking limit on the trench, which is 4 rifle steps. So I just slightly reorganised this to get this working properly. So we got 4 rifle steps here, which are covered with this trench, but the other guys here are effectively on top. So they're in the standard terrain, which is folded scrub, so they don't get the protection of that. We did get we did fire. We did get quite a density modifier of -8, and because you use the most or the least modifiers out of the fire mods table for each individual bit, the target activity, the base fire, or the multipliers, it effectively, there was nobody in a fire trench. You count them as all being in the folded scrub, but as I say, that didn't really have an effect. The morale check was easily passed again, so a little shame about that. But that was the big attack. So that was actually these 3 pickets plus another artillery unit. And finally, just done it. So S Beach here, we were fired directly from this artillery unit. Another disappointing roll. We got the morale check, but again the morale check was a middling roll, and the guns aren't big enough to get a particular modifier. These guys are, but there's no modifier for the type of fire on the morale check anyway. And they've got the shallow trench. The shallow trench is much less effective. It's only a +1 instead of a +3 against the howitzer fire. But yeah, we didn't get anything. So that's the commanded fire phase done. Now we're on to the movement, of which there'll be very little. I think there may be a picket to shuffle. I'm not even sure that would be the case. So yeah, I'll just do that, and then we have assault sub-segment. Again, I don't think we have that as well. There's nothing going to be assaulting from the cordon defence. So I think the movement will just be the fact of these long actions being removed, and those artillery units being available to be fired in any arc they like next turn will be the most exciting thing out of the remains of that activation. So I'll just do that, and we'll move on to the next activation. Right, that's done, so we go for the next activation. And yeah, there's no need to roll competitively, there's only British command chits to pick, but we can roll to see if we can choose which one or not. We need a 2 or less. Failed, so it's a random. A lot of these, not much will be happening, I'm afraid, because there's lots of failed orders and disorganised defences, maybe just some commanded fire and that's it. So we come up with V Beach first. V Beach has a disorganised defence, so nothing particularly moving, so there'll just really be commanded fire happening. And yeah, I'll do that and see what the results are. We can do split the commanded fire, so we could split either side. Remember, we've got River Clyde here, three machine gun points, twice through different hex sides. So there'll be quite a volume of fire, but we'll see what happens to the pickets around. So the results of the commanded fire, we had 2 rifle steps and the MGs from River Clyde into here. We did get a morale check failure, so a confusion for that fort number 1. We did the same thing attack here, but we got no effect with quite a high dice roll. And over here we used the MGs and the rifle fire from the Worcesters up here, the same as that. We got no effect. One thing I haven't quite done yet on the commanded fire is this shit here. So what we will do, we'll roll for the naval fire. I think we're going to direct it at the scariest open unit here, which I think will be this unit. Just off the end here is the 3 artillery units here. This artillery unit is no longer in the rifle pit. It's available to be fired out by the Navy from a hex side. So we can roll for the naval fire on that. I haven't done that yet, that's why I wanted to go through it. So with the naval gunfire, we do a selection and we consult a table to find out what's actually firing as far as the Navy goes. So we'll do that roll. We roll a 9, which is the worst thing really. It's an armoured cruiser which apparently has 2 9.2 inch Mark 10 guns. It's a range of 33 and a fire point of 3, so not a great fire point. So we can get 3 fire points on here. That's our commanded fire, and we can roll a combat there. They're in open terrain, so there's no actual modifier there. We count from the hex. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hexes. That gives us a artillery modifier of +3. So we roll the dice on 3 firepower, +3 gets a 7. 7 on 3 firepower. That comes out as 0.14. We've got a 48. So that is worth a morale check. The morale check though is 33, so there is no effect. Once we've done that commanded fire, we actually put that to the side and we draw another chip to see what else is available in the naval gunfire, and we have no fire. So that's the Navy done for the turn. We got an armoured cruiser taking a pot shot and nothing else. So Navy all done for the turn. And the last thing to do on V Beach really is this movement into here. So that movement will be a trigger, and they won't be in the fire trench, so they'll be on top. We can cool down fire as well, so we will cool down fire, I think possibly from these 2 units here, rather than this one, because they're a little closer. And so we will add 2 quarters. This guy, he's confused, so he's only half firepower anyway, so that's an 1/8 of a firepower, which even this chart doesn't actually cover. So half plus 2, so it's 2.5. It's fired. They're now fired twice. So for each of the previous fires, you add a +3, and it's observed fire, so that's a +5 for these guys, and +5, we have 3 steps coming in. Artillery density for 3 steps is a -2, so the +5 is down to +3. The range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is +3, so that's +6 now, and then the circumstances of the units. So they're moving, so that's a -3 for that, and anything else they have? They are in scrub, which doesn't give them a modifier for high angle artillery. So -3 on that, so they're actually on +3 coming into the hex. That's a 6. It's a 6 on 2.5, which is 0.16. 0.16. We roll a 62 on the dice, and that doesn't do anything. However, they are now also on top, and as you can see, the hex is getting very, very congested, even with our guys still sitting on the River Clyde and not moving. I don't think, again, it's an idea to move them at the moment, because this is in disorganised defence anywhere. All they're doing is blasting away at the pickets around them, and they can't really do very much more at the moment. There's no organisation down there. No assault, so that's V Beach done, and we'll draw the next, or we'll roll to see if we can pick the next chit. We can't. The random one is this is Y Beach, no, S Beach, sorry. That's the S Beach chit. S Beach is disorganised defence. It really can't do anything. Its machine gun could reach a half firepower here, which I can roll, but there's not a lot of chance of it working. We'll +3 on half a point. Let's see what the roll looks like. It is a 0, so that's pretty good. And yeah, so a 0 +3 gives us a 3. A 3 on half a point comes out as a 0, 6. Chance of a hit. Now, interestingly enough, the percentile dice is a 0, 0. Now, zeros are zeros in this game, not 10s. That's actually a 0, so that is a hit. So we have managed to get that hit we wanted to do. So that means that picket actually has been hit by the machine gun, and that trench is now vacant. We put that in the dead pile, and we're still not quite at another point, step loss point for the 26th Regiment, but we're on 3/4 now. So that was quite a lucky hit, and yeah, that's all S Beach can do. So let's crack on with the next activation. Still on the random. There's not much chance, only a 0, 1 or 2. Do we get a chance to pick? We have 88th Brigade. 88th Brigade has failed down to disorganised defence. I'm classing here that the Worcesters and Hants as landed are 88th Brigade run. Actually, I shouldn't have actually fired these guys that last activation, but I did. We'll rally in the movement phase. I won't fire them because, and I shouldn't really have landed these guys either. But I did it early, I'm afraid. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't change anything. So yeah, 88th Brigade really doesn't do anything. So next chit. We're rattling through it here because so I think there's so many orders failing. There is only two beaches that are actually still active. W Beach is on stalled attack, and X Beach is still on its initial attack. Well, yeah, but it's not in a great state. So let's roll again. Again, it's on random. So the random is W Beach.
Okay, so they're on stalled attack. Right, so I'm going to zoom in here because it's might be interesting. It's probably the most interesting beach at the moment for as an activation. So we have the supply unit coming in, which will just come in and sit on the beach. And however, W Beach here, as it's a stalled attack, they still can attack. These units have got their objective, so they're not really going to do anything. These units here, we only have half movement allowance, so it actually costs to rally these units. It costs a third of the movement allowance. So movement allowance is 6, a third of that is 2. So then you have 1 point left of movement allowance to do anything. That means that they can't really get into this hex to assault. Yeah, that's so they can't get to the objective while the attack is stalling. It's going to default to disorganised defence next turn, and they won't move out of where they are. Still, we can do some firing. Really, it's just this hex. There's no machine guns in here to do anything, and so yeah, we'll fire these guys off and then rally them, but it won't be much of an attack. It's just 1 point out of the whole half battalion. So I'll do that roll, and I was thinking it was going to be more interesting, but it isn't really. The units here in support, which are the Essex, not sure there's a lot of use getting them anywhere. We could move them off the beach onto here. Let's see how the commanded fire goes. If that does, I may consider them moving them. If not, then I may just sit them where they are. I'll possibly move them up into this trench here. Yeah, that might be an idea. I mean, once we get going, I think that W Beach guys need to move this way to try and relieve V Beach. So maybe that's not a great idea. We'll see anyway. We'll do the commanded fire and see how it works out. Right, there was no result there, so I think we don't really want to move anything. We'll just rally those units, and they'll sit in their captured trench, one short of their objective up on Hill 138. So that's W Beach. That's as exciting as it gets, really, I think, on this turn for the Allies, but let's keep going. We have still don't get to pick, and so we pick Y Beach. Yeah, so with Y Beach, we are disorganised defence, and all we really got is some commanded fire. The commanded fire will be from here, from this this machine gun here, into this space. There's now rifle pits there, so it's a +3 on the defence. I could hide the troops because they actually can't fire back at the moment, but what they can do is they can command fire, say from these units here, to bring down some artillery there, so there's no point in doing that, but they're +3 in defence anyway, and it's half a point as the fire. We'll look at that. A 5 on half a point comes out at a 0.05. We have a 61, so there's absolutely no effect there. Nothing else that they can really do. They're disorganised defence, so they're stuck in place where they are, really, and that's it for Y Beach. The remaining 3 commands, there's only one that really means anything, which is X Beach. The other 2, 86 and 87 Brigade, they don't actually have any units with them anyway. Nothing's been cross-assigned with them, so therefore they might as well just come out. There's really no point in doing anything with those counters. So let's look at X Beach as the last for the turn. And yeah, so X Beach, we have actually I'm fibbing a little bit there, with 87 Brigade. I think we'll still stick with X Beach rather than 87 Brigade. 86 Brigade is not a point. Yeah, so we'll stick. The brigades at HQs aren't really going to do anything. So X Beach here, which is over here, we will be landing this unit. The commanded fire will only be from this stack here, which will be 1.5 points, as it's halved because of the confusion. 1.5 points into here. This is grazing land, so it's clear. So there's no modifier there for the defence. So it's just a 1.5 firepower with no modifier. It's a very high roll. Yeah, nowhere near even a morale check. So nothing there. We will use the rally option, third of the movement allowance, to remove that, and we'll move here into X Beach. We can prompt a fire by the pom-pom gun. We'll do that. It's direct there. That will be the second firing. It's a +2 for the original, so +3 for the original firing. That's a moving unit. This is -3, so they cancel out. So we have one shot there, one firepower with, I believe, a 0 modifier. Let's roll that. It's a 6 with, again, a very high a percentile on it. 6.4. Yeah, absolutely no effect there at all. And that really kind of completes. That's the commanded fire. So then this unit could move. They're still on their initial attack, and their orders actually bring them down here to actually support this hex. So to continue to make progress, I think we will move one of the companies up. We'll keep the others there, I think, to maintain messaging range. That movement there will prompt some fire as well. So again, from these units, that's 2 firepower factors. They're moving in open, so a -3 there. There's no density or anything else. They can't call for artillery support because they're not where a phone is. They're in the open. There's no fire trench or gun pit. They're in. So yeah, it's just their 2 factors with a -3. That's a 2, which comes out then it's a -1. 2 firepower factors. That's quite a high result. So that's 0.29. 0.29. We have a 59. So it is a morale check, but the morale check is a 36. So no effect. So that unit gets there, and I think that will be the turn. Yeah, that's X Beach done, and yeah, that's pretty much all the activations. 87 and 86 Brigade again. As I said, they haven't really got any units assigned to them, and yeah, that'll do, I think. I'll just move this unit into the hex there, so we have the full battalion there of the borderers. I will actually just check the map to see if they are meant to move anywhere. I'll just check their orders. Actually, yeah, they're meant on the initial attack to move as well, but they actually move north to try and meet up with Y Beach. So the units here, which landed last turn, we can move out. We will need to keep messaging range to 1 hex because of the imminent threat from here. So we'll move these units out here. And yeah, that'll do for, again, a make progress on the attack. We could get another
fire from the pom-pom gun. I think we'll try and do that. That'll be the third shot. So they'll have +6 on the dice. +6. They are moving, so it's only +3, and it's one shot. It's one firepower. On a +3, we may get a morale check, and that morale check does look high. So we have a 7 going to a 10 on 1 point, gives us 0.03. We have a 27, so that's definitely a morale check within the range of 0.4 of the needed number. And we have a 92, so that is definitely confusing, that stack. Yeah, so right, that's so I think about it. I just noticed up here that we did have confusion on the beach before. That's only one movement point, and they did have full movement, so they would have rallied that first before moving. So that's fine. Our move is legal. Right, end of activations, so except for the end of turn, which is to remove these fired markers, and we are back to moving the game turn marker on and ready for turn 5, and that's noon to 2 p.m. and yeah, we'll get that done in another video. Starting to speed up. I will say that there's not a lot happening here. Some movement forward at X Beach. That's about it really. Nothing much else happening. We will get the big artillery here in play next turn. And now it's finished its manoeuvre, so there may be some more casualties here, but certainly on the beaches, because the pickets are that weak, it's difficult to get casualties. It's the only thing that's really going for the Turks is the density of the British units in places. But yeah, even that with we'll see how we go. The rolls weren't good this turn, but I mean maybe next turn they will be good, and we'll see what happens. I think a big thing is to see the orders next turn, where we try and get what is effectively 6 HQs off of disorganised defence, get them onto the defence order, which then we can then plan for attacks, and slowly things will start moving. That's the next big thing, because at the moment nothing much is moving at all. Right, well thanks for watching, and I'll see you for turn 5.